a raw photo of a cabin I took out near my house a few days ago. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of these wires here, show you a little trick that Photoshop offers. All you need to do is go up here to this tool and make sure it's selected on lasso, and just going to draw around here. Try and keep it as tight as you can to the object that you want to get rid of. And then up top here, go down here, and you'll see what's called the little marching ants. Now all we do next is go to Edit, Fill, and in this box here make sure Content Aware is taken care of, is highlighted I should say. Don't mind me, I'm not feeling too well today. Click OK. Give it a second or two. My machine's being slow today. I'm working on my workstation downstairs, 1 of 5. See, now that got rid of most of it. Now to get rid of the marching ants, all you do is press Control D. And then do the same for the other wires. Now what you're going to do next, click on this button up here. Now you're going to go into Filter, and you're going to go to Camera Raw Filter. Give that a second to open. Okay, now what we're going to do is choose this tool up here. It's a gradient tool, gradient filter. And depending on the angle of, how would I say that? If you got a straight horizon, then draw a line from the very top down to right about here. I'm just going to bring this up a touch. Now what I'm going to do is bring down the exposure to highlight the clouds. And you can drag this a little lower. And then if you go down here and click on Mask to make sure it's chosen, you'll see what's being affected in the red here. So actually I'm going to bring this down a little bit more and get rid of the mask for a second. As soon as it gets rid of it. Now with the clouds darkened a little bit, all you need to do is go around and mess around with some of the settings here, and it will only affect where you drew the well, what do you call it, the gradient in. Check your blacks, make it look realistic. I'm going to bring in a little bit more over the blacks, and I'm going to bring up the clarity just a little bit. Now that's one way to do it. Now if you want to, what you can do is go to New. Now if you want to brighten the bottom a bit, start from the bottom, bring it up here a bit, and as you can see it's dark, so you're going to want to bring up the exposure to bring more light into the photo, such as this here. Now that's one way of doing it. Now I'm going to show you another way of doing it. This time we're going to paint instead of using the gradient tool. So we have to go up here, choose the adjustment brush. Now don't make your brush too big. A way to make it bigger or smaller is use the bracket keys, either left or right, like I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial in, I'm not sure what my settings are. My settings are where the exposure is a little bit higher, and as you can see I'm getting more exposure here. So I'm going to throw on the mask so I know where I've painted, so to speak. And I want to highlight the clouds. Now what I'm going to do is unclick the mask, and I'm going to bring that exposure down to where I've painted. See how much more dramatic that the clouds get? So I'm going to leave that there. I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is go up again and click New. Make sure the brush is still selected. Now I'm going to do some of the grass here. What I'm going to do, I'll paint it in first. As I said, it's going to look dark as soon as it's done painting, but that's okay, we'll fix that. Now I'm going to use the mask. No, I don't really need the mask. The mask just helps you know where you painted, so to speak. Now the exposure, I'm going to bring up just a little bit. Now you do it the way you feel you want it. I'm just doing this as an example. I'd probably get into a little bit more of the painting part of it. Now, I guess I'm happy with that, just for now. Now we're going to try something a little bit different. Another way of painting. That's called masking and painting. Okay, so give me 1 second and we'll try another version. Now, we're going to go up to New again. Now this time I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller by once again using the bracket keys. And I'm going to see if I can bring out a little bit more detail on the shed here. There's so many ways you can mess with this. And as I've said, you go in here and you adjust your exposure. If you want, you can bring it way down, which doesn't look natural, of course. But I bring it about there, and you can bring some subtle blacks into that by moving it to the left, the slider. You can mess with the clarity until you find what you like. So I'm bringing it up just a touch. Now the saturation, if you want, you can totally turn what you just painted black and white by sliding it to the left, or you can bring it up quite a bit. But for myself, I think I'm going to leave it almost to the black and white level. And dehaze, that also gives it a clear look if you slide it to the right a bit. And that's pretty simple. Next, all you have to do is hit OK. Give it a second to do its processing. Like I said, my machine's being a slow ass today. I got a bunch of things happening in the background, so we'll wait for that to finish up. And here's the finished product. Now if I wanted to see the difference, I can just hit backwards, step backwards, and then I can just, to go back to where it was, undo state change, and there it is. Or if you want to fade the effect that you have, all you need to do is go to edit. Where the heck are you? Oh, you're not available for this, so never mind what I just said. And that's pretty much it. So the key to photographing something like this is, where it's cloudy, is to underexpose by at least a half a stop to 1 full stop on your camera's wheel. And that's it, Lonnie. As simple as that. You can go nuts and you can figure out different ways and different things to do with this kind of tutorial. Now, if you want to get a little bit more artistic, if I remember right, you already have the Nik software. So go into Filters, and where the heck am I here? Nik Collection. And I'm going to go into Color Effects Pro 4 because I want to work on this cabin just a little bit. So we'll give it a second for that to pull up. And you'll notice this panel as soon as this loads up here. Now that the panel is loaded up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Bleach Bypass. You can use any filter you want. Wait for it to come up here. But we're not going to bleach the whole photo. What we're going to do is choose the brush tool. And we'll wait for that panel to come up here. Now that it's up, what I'm going to do is paint it. And as you can see, there's the paint tool. Make sure the brush is selected over here. Go in here. Once again, use the brackets left or right to resize it. I'm going to make it about this big, I guess. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint cabin just a little bit to give it that grungy, old kind of look. Like I said, just doing this quickly so you can grasp the idea of what I'm trying to do here. Now I like that. Now what you do after that is hit apply. Let it do its thing, which it has done. Now you can close that. If you want to, make sure that this is selected right here. That's called a mask. And if you want to reduce some of the effect, what you can either do is bring down the opacity, watch the image, and you'll see how it changes. And I brought it right back up. You use the amount that you want. Now, if I wanted to, by clicking that part right here, which is called the mask, I can go over and make sure I hit what white. If you click on white, what it does is it adds more effect to it. Now, if you click black, sorry, what you got to do is hit this little thingy right here. Oh, never mind, forgot to do this. Just hit this here to make sure it goes to black, and that will take away the effect. Now, if I was to switch that back to white, what it's going to do is paint the effect back on. So white adds and black subtracts. And it's pretty simple. Now what you're going to do with these two files right here, you're going to go up to Layer, and you're going to flatten the image. And then what you're going to do is File, Save As, and just for the hell of it, I don't really need this file because I've done it. I'm going to go down to TIFF because TIFF has a lot more information in it and makes it more editable. So I'm just going to aim it to whatever I want here. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. And there you go, it's complete. And just this here, leave it as is and click OK. Now another way, if you want to come back and work on the image later, all you do is save this the way it looks, and you're going to go to Save and Save As, and you're going to mark it like whatever name you want to call it, but add PSD to it. That means a Photoshop document. And then choose this right here and save and click OK. That's fine, and it's going to save it as is here the next time you open it up. That way you can go back and edit it later on. So pretty simple stuff. Take your time, learn it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this.